Hi there, Vibe Gardeners. Welcome to another episode of Vibe Gardening from Dishun, where we're going to be going over a end of June update in 2026. With that said, let's go. All right, Vibe Gardeners. So if you guys remember what's been going on, following on with the channel, you notice that it's been a very little activity in the month of June, mostly because it's been raining like crazy. And with the gardening being mostly outdoors now, having rain basically inhibits my ability to get out of here and basically showcase what's been going on, combined with the weather pattern not really cooperating with my work life schedule as well. And so to kind of give you guys an idea of how much rain we've gotten, basically for the whole entire month, my automated timer for watering only kicked off only during the beginning of June once in the first week, and then from that point on, for about 3 weeks, it never actually even turned on. I never had to actually water my plants until essentially this morning. So it's already June 28th. So as you can see here, we're basically it's the last watering of the month. So this whole entire month, I water my plants twice, and that's it. That's how much rain we've gotten. So a lot of that is going to basically, there's going to be a lot of progression I'm going to be showing you guys. We're going to go talk about some of the things that we've seen last year and that my anticipation for it, and then some of the things that have changed with my planning since the beginning of the season. So with that said, here we go. So one of the more interesting things that happened this year is that I have a bunch of peppers I've decided to plant in pots, which I'm going to have to do a whole entire episode on. What's been happening with these peppers is that I decided that I want them to last for more than a season. And there's a lot of videos on the YouTube where people talk about how you can take existing peppers and then have them overwinter. And since I don't have a pretty cold but not freezing garage or environment like people in the warmer zones, I decided I'm going to keep them in pots and make them ornamental during the winter in my living room. So I've done this. But the one thing that I did not notice, as I will talk deeper into, is that, see that? Pots are making peppers essentially get a lot more productive with their fruit. As we know from some of the biology that we've seen with the Anaheim pepper, the Buna Manata, and the California Wonder. They're all getting pretty big. And they're, especially California Wonder, since I have majority of my plants in the ground, none of them are even close to the fruit production of this one. And the downside of having such a small pot is that I essentially have to water them almost every day or every other day because how small it is. So I might actually need to pot this thing up so that I don't have to worry about watering so much. And obviously I have my brand new Laurel Bay or bay leaf plant, and I'm just letting it vibe a little longer before I start harvesting the leaf for culinary purposes. But this is another one that I'm going to have to overwinter in the house because it's not perennial in zone 6A. Now, another thing I have not talked about yet on my channel is I've basically acquired this raised planter, that raised bed looking thing that's about 30 inches tall. And this is actually quite perfect for me in that this gives me the ability to grow short seasoned crops and be able to do a lot of succession sowing here and not have to worry about, well, at least right now, I don't think squirrels are able to get on this with this smooth metal surface getting up here. And I obviously don't have to worry about bunnies because 30 inches is definitely a little too much for bunnies to jump on. And only birds are really a possibility here. But if I'm growing all greens, I don't think the birds will be interested. As you can see here, I have quite a bit of arugula coming up. Now, it's my first time planting it, and I do know they don't like hot weather as much, so we have a heat wave coming this coming week. And we'll see how they make it past that. But the main goal here is I want to basically produce quite a bit of green onions. And as you can see here, they're already coming up quite a bit of sprouts here. And then I also have some holes here I've made for a row of dill and cilantro. Cilantro is not coming up, but I have one dill coming up. But I'm not too sad because this way I can prioritize here. When the weather gets a little cooler, I can try lettuce and other stuff. So that would be nice. But obviously, here I'm doing Thai basil and using the vermiculite process we talked about, and they're coming on pretty well. And I think the hot weather that's coming with heat wave will be right up the alley for making things go pretty well. So if you guys have seen my shorts here, yeah, so Indiana Funny Farm, Kimberly there, Kim has challenged me to grow all my alyssums in the seed packet. Of course, she didn't tell me where to grow them all, and I got lazy and decided to put them all here. And as you can see, they are absolutely exploding right now, and they're competing with all kinds of chaos moment here. It's like becoming like a chaos garden here, in a sense, without me planning so. It's competing for room with my dwarf marigold, and yeah, it's supposed to be green bean bed, but you see the green bean is only like popping up here, there, and it is absolutely fighting for sunlight with the rest of them. But due to good hydration and proper fertilization, things are doing actually okay. It's just very chaotic, and it's actually kind of funny in my opinion, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird. And on the other side of this bed, as you can see here, last year by this point, there was already kind of a, let's put it, so these are my eggplants. There was already a bunch of Japanese beetle infestation going on by this time of the year. And I believe with all the rain and the cooler temperature, it has not happened yet. And I'll show you the next clip that I know they're coming. And but then also the dill weeds are yeah, they're flowering. They're absolutely beautiful. And once the cucumbers start coming and the pickling happens, this is going to make for some amazing dill pickles right here. And obviously the celery is down here chilling and waiting for its chance to really, well, have its time, because right now it's this side is also a jungle, but not as bad as Alyssum craze here. So it's kind of going, and I'm not seeing any fruit on any of these plants yet. Though I'm seeing here, I have a tucked away green bean here. I do see some the Blue Lake green bean bush variety. I see their flowers coming up. So hopefully I'm going to get a green bean harvest soon. As promised, Swaying in the Wind is a different brand this year. I'm trying a different Japanese beetle trap. And so I put it out here this year knowing that last year the Japanese beetle population basically exploded in the end of June. So this year I'm being proactive. I'm setting these up. And I do know that they're not going to basically prevent anything from happening, but it is a good indicator of what's been happening. And the thing with this is that, yeah, I got this from Menards, and it's not exactly, the biggest bag, and because it only comes with one bag, right? It's a bigger bag. So once the, the corpse starts smelling here, I wouldn't be able to exactly, oh, you see that? That just flew right out. That also makes me wonder how actually effective this trap is. So, yeah, that's another question here. So, if we're looking here, we got the lure module right here. It's smelling quite like their favorite flower and stuff. And if we look deep inside, we'll notice that there's quite a few of them. So yeah, it's definitely working, but you also saw one just fly right out of there, which makes me really wonder, is this brand actually effective? So, so far I'm seeing about 10 Japanese beetle getting caught there a day right now. Nothing's on my eggplant, but it's also out in my wild strip. As we can see here, this is where I let things grow wild deliberately. And let's see if this actually helps me with anything this year. Now with the tomato, it's really interesting this year. So you've got to remember earlier, the star of the show has been this guy right here. If you guys remember the temperature negative differential experiment we've had, where we basically tried to see if we can get a thick stem on this tomato. And after it was done, had no room for it. So basically I planted it right in this half compost, half native clay soil, little 1 foot radius hole I made for it. And all around it are super non-nutritious, basically clay soil around. And obviously the clay has taken a toll on this plant. As you can see, it's not exactly the healthiest. It holds on to nutrition well. Um, Aeration is a problem, but it is actually making, as you can see, it has tons of fruit. I was already able to harvest about 6 remote tomato about this big. It is literally half, if not a third, the size of what it should be. But it is producing fruit, and I was able to make some experimental hot sauce with them. So, I mean, it's working, just I'm not really sure if it's a weird experiment or if the soil is really contributing to this. Probably both, honestly, if you really think about it. But the soil is not the best for it, but it is really showcasing desire to survive on plants. Now, the officially planted tomatoes in the proper soil here, as you can see, it's a whole different story. These things are huge. The tallest one right here is already surpassing my height, and I'm 6 foot tall. We're 1.8 meters, I believe. And as you can see here, they're varying height. And the funny thing is, you see the second one right here. This one is the shortest, but as we saw with the potted plants, this one also has the biggest fruit. So you come to the bottom, it's formed earlier. This tomato is quite big. It is about 2 to 3 times the size of the one from the other one in the clay. So really, I think what happens is we're seeing, and also like there's a lot of babies also kind of coming along. And it's good that they're come on because there's been the heat wave coming later this week. Hopefully these fruit are already well established enough that it will not drop from the heat wave coming. So this one also has a bit of the other one, the second shortest one also has a bit of fruit on the bottom forming from early in the season, as you can see here. So this one's actually doing pretty well as well. But the reality is that the taller the plants are, like these over here, these 3 really tall ones that are like 6 feet or taller, these ones haven't really started developing fruits on the bottom. So if you look at the bottom here, with all 3 of these, you don't really see any fruit forming down here. And that really kind of, illustrates the point that if it uses too much energy on producing biomass, it will not be into the reproductive mode as much. But now that the temperatures are warming up, as you can see, we are producing some baby Roma tomato fruit, and just in time before the heat wave. So I think this one might be the one that doesn't even have any baby fruit yet. So this one might take a long time before we start seeing any production from this guy. Now there's actually about 2 fruits up here, but we'll see. And this one I think has a few as well. This is also the tallest one. It is actually, I'm guessing this one is, I don't know, like it's probably 6'2" or 6'3". It is pretty giant. And yeah, I don't really, yeah, do I see any fruit here? I don't think I see any fruit on this guy yet, which kind of makes sense in that it's focusing all its energy on producing biomass. So here with the bell pepper, they're sharing space with volunteer parsley, and they're doing about as good as last year, except I think they're actually finally starting to produce fruit. As you can see here, there's a tiny fruit coming, and I think it's just in time before the heat wave and becomes hard to set fruit. So I think we're in good shape with them, but obviously because they're not stressed for root space like the one in the pot, they've been focusing on building biomass, and they're significantly larger than the one in the pot. Now the garlic is a different story. As you can see, every single one of these garlic has their scapes already removed, but they've already produced and they've already curled. And yet I have not seen much of browning on these garlic at all. Like that one of the biggest one, I'm seeing a little bit of leaf sensation at secession at the bottom where the leaves are dying, but it's not really active. And as you will see from this side here, this side is more of the same story in that everything's going quite well in that the scape have been harvested, and we're seeing a tiny bit of leaf dying at the very bottom, 1 or 2 leaf, and that's pretty much it. So they're definitely progressing significantly faster, and they're a lot healthier looking than the containers experiment with garlic. Now, speaking of garlic and container, this is the final one that's been sitting around. I believe it's time for us to harvest it, because as you can see, the leaf death is coming all the way up now. There's not much left. So we're going to pull this out and see what we have remaining. And so if you can see here, it's basically a lot of girth and not much of a bulb shape, which I think is okay. I mean, we'll take a look at this later and see what's happening here. But it's kind of as expected. It's completely confused from indoor growth. And yeah, it's not exactly like how I expected it to be. A little bit of update on the herb garden. As you can see, basically the sage has taken over, becoming the two pillars of the garden this year. And that they became huge. They blossom beautifully with purple flowers. If you've been following my shorts, you've noticed that it's been attracting a lot of very interesting pollinators with it that I've never seen before. And like the hummingbird moth that came by, that's a very rare. And then of course we got the lemon thyme also flowering down here. And really somewhere hidden in here, those propagated rosemary somehow made it. And though there was a freeze earlier that basically killed the top, I think they're having a comeback. I'm not even harvesting it, but giving it time to really try to establish itself. So hopefully next year it's going to come back up, though I don't know. And yes, and also the coriander or cilantro had the same fate a little bit in that it got overshadowed by the sage. Not much is coming through, just a little bit. So I also being very careful with harvesting cilantro from outside as well. Of course, I planted some new basil I got from Meyer out of desperation, and this one is doing quite well as well. And yeah, the mint, I'm going to have to aggressively cull it. And yes, last year, the blackberry I tried to get rid of, tried to come back again out here. So I had to basically pull them twice already. Probably a third time coming up soon. Again, the parsley here is doing quite well with chive. And I've been actually harvesting some of these chive seeds. You see the black stuff in the puff? That's become quite a good harvest here. Just take it onto a white piece of paper, shake it off, and you got yourself some seeds you can propagate your chive with. And here we have the zucchini bed. I was already planning to plant two of them, but we have the extra survivor that I ended up planting. And remember the first I showed the bunnies ate quite a bit of them. And then I put up this fence here. And then if you watch my bunny defense video, you will notice that I've came up with a visual deterrence mechanism that has actually worked out fairly well. Put a basil here, basically giving more obstacles to the bunny. And the marigold is coming out quite fine with some zinnias coming through. And right now it looks like we're at the point of about getting 3 zucchinis ready to harvest very soon. So yeah, it's about time for me to make some stir fry and potentially some zucchini based baked goods or pasta. Here we have the Japanese pie pumpkin or black futsu. And this one's the same story as last year. It's yellowing a little bit as expected because the ground is terrible. But I've been fertilizing it pretty regularly, so it's given it the chance to really excel at what it does. And the big difference this year was I got my first fruit here, and I actually put a fruit bag around it to try to deter the squirrels from coming and eating it. I will put a link below for this product. Hopefully it's going to do the job. I think it will because it's being a nice little deterrent for those little rascals. And yeah, I mean, squirrels has been the one animal that I was have not been able to fully get out of anywhere using barrier method. So this is basically putting a little protection around the fruit to make it hard for them to get to, and hopefully that's going to do the trick. Now this new circular bed, which came about last year when I did the moonshot experiment with the cucumber, and the temperature has not been super strong, so the cucumber has not gotten too big. But as you can see right now, it's starting to develop the runners here. It's already trying to hang on to things. A little lightning bug right there. And I'm going to have to get it on this trellis here, have it climb up. And it should also help it with a bit of a heat wave situation coming up, in that it doesn't get it's actually not that much direct sun all day. So it's not going to get super hot, and the wind's going to help it getting some of that off, the heat off. So also the carrots they seem to be doing well, but it's my first time growing it, so I have no idea if it's actually doing well, but it seems like it's doing fine. And yes, I put up this fence here for the bunnies because I know carrot and cucumber are their favorite food. So they should keep them out while those things develop into something pretty presentable. Now, welcome to my extension lawn area where I'm starting fresh with a bunch of experiments. So this cherry tomato has been coming along quite fine. It's an absolute biomass monster right now. And from what I can tell, there's already been some kind of fruit development going. So if you kind of come here, you will notice that there are some, if I can get it correctly, you see the fruit developing. So I think very soon with the heat wave, I don't know if it's going to be too hot for it, but it's going to definitely encourage some growth with warmer weather. And yeah, so the watering is also manual, so hopefully I can keep up with any drying up that's been happening. But also, as you can notice, there's really nothing around the poles, like I said I would do. I was going to do succession sowing of my cucumber around the utility pole, but the thing is with the heat wave coming, and the schedule is actually right about now, I've decided to wait until the heat wave passes, until we're out of the upper 90s in Fahrenheit, so that the seeds will not be delayed or made unviable from the massive heat. And because right here, this gets basically sun from dawn till dusk. And it was not a good idea to basically try the luck of viability on those things. So I'm going to wait another week before I put those things down. And of course, here with the Chaos Garden, it's not exactly the success I was hoping for. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I wasn't quite sure how much grass or native seeds are going to come up due to just the fact that it was all basically dirt from the utility company working on it last year. But for sure, I believe in getting what I think these are calentulas. I'm not 100% sure. And then I threw down some native perennial wildfire flower seeds in here. So hopefully that's going to produce something more fun to look at, like Indian cover blankets and potentially some swamp milkweed and other interesting stuff to look at. So we'll see if that actually pans out, because it's already being choked with some other plants around that I didn't plan. So the front flower garden has definitely become quite the sight to behold, as a lot of my flower I planted is starting to come through. And the color coordination is unexpectedly nice, in that here if you come and you see the lavender, they're under year 2, so they're flowering. And it's quite beautifully purple coming along in year 2. Next to, I don't even know what these things are, but they're orange, and the color combination between orange and purple gives a fantastic color contrast in what's going on. And also on the deck, as we discussed before, the Korean mountain, snow on mountain, is not doing as well, because what we didn't realize was the gutter was draining water on here. So it pulled water significantly quite a bit, really reducing the oxygen intake of the plants here, and really stunting the growth quite a bit. And so this is actually one of the running problems we've had in this pot. Now with something like that, I should probably focus on getting some more fertilization in there, because the wash away effect of a lot of the nutrition is very real, especially with the compost I'm depending on from Miracle-Gro potting mix. A lot of that is really getting lost. So, but right now, so I'm probably going to end up giving a little bit of the Miracle-Gro all-purpose to give it that nitrogen impact back, to basically give it a little bit of a growth spurt before it gets too hot. And here also, it seems like right now with the Cosmos, it's doing very well, as you can see. But the problem is because I planted 4 of these in here in this one pot. It's quite dense. So this would, again, kind of like the pot in the back, it needs watering about every 2 days. And but that's actually not the problem here with the marigold. With the marigold, this is a pot size I've used last year, and I know it's a winning formula. So this one's doing just fine right here. And same thing with this raised planter here. So the Thai basil obviously is thriving with a little bit of zinnia to help with the color coordination. And the chamomile right now has been an aphid disaster right now. But right now, the good thing is that it's basically outpacing the aphid attack. So I'm able to get about a handful of chamomile harvest every day from these, if not 2 by this point now. And I've been doing some manual crushing of the aphid, as you saw from the aphid hotel eviction video. So I've been killing a lot of it by hand, but also under suggestion of ChatGPT, my AI assistant, I've been essentially reducing the impact on them a little bit to give the local predators a chance to basically feast, getting the hoverflies and stuff to get the larvae to come and to eat things. And the Korean perilla has been quite awesome. It's looking very small right now in the middle of the zinnia. And the main reason is I've had 2 harvests of the guinea or Korean perilla in here. So I'll have to do another video 40 on Korean perilla, but it's already producing the food I'm looking for. And finally, to our friend here, the lupine that's had a transplant this year, had 1 flower, and then some animal came and did a mechanical removal of that flower stock, and I've not seen a single flower since then. So my fear is that the transplant is offsetting some desire for it to flower as vigorously as last year. Last year I had about 5 or more by this point, and I think it actually might need some water right now. All right, guys, so that's it for my end of June update from 2026. We kind of went over some of the environmental surprises this time of the year, which is a big contrast from last year with a heat wave that came through. And preparation for another heat wave that's coming up to be kind of more like last year. And some of the pest situations that have forced me to change my habits. And so that hopefully gives you a good idea of what's been happening here. So if you guys have better ideas of what I can do and advice, please comment below. And remember, please subscribe for more content like this. And until next time, guys, keep vibing, keep gardening. Let's go.